Hello, everyone. My name is Brian Nugent. I'm an alliance manager taking care of the MACH ecosystem partners for EPAM. I'm here today to talk to you about a question that we get quite a bit, and that is demystifying the MACH purchasing, as well as the journey through it. So the who, the how, the why, and the what's from there. With me, I have two other colleagues of mine. Brian, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Brian. So as you just noticed, we're both named Brian, but my name is Brian Gilmore from EPAM Systems. And in my role at EPAM, I am the head of growth for MACH here in North America. EPAM, if you're not familiar with them, are a digital services solutions provider. And we are one of the early co-founders of the MACH Alliance with over 65 different MACH implementations. And as a MACH curious person once told me, it's easy for me to be the MACH expert and to know a lot about MACH, but there are still quite a number of people out there that are not as familiar. And that's why I'm excited today to be joined by my colleague, Linda Sasso. She's been working with a lot of these early MACH curious clients, and we have a lot to share with you today. So Linda, introduce yourself.
Thanks, Brian. My name's Linda Sasso, also with EPAM Systems. I'm a Senior Director of Digital Engagement at EPAM, and essentially what that means is it's important for me to make sure we're providing sound digital solutions to our clients. And in context of MACH, I think our clients really value the partnership that you and I have, Brian, because I'm coming at this from more of a digital experience strategy lens. And with you coming at conversations from a technology lens, our clients are really seeing our dynamic as similar to our client organizations across the business, marketing, and IT org. So awesome to be here today and talk with you all about the MACH journey.
Thanks, you two, for being here. So let's dive in. So the obvious question is what is MACH? And why would you start considering MACH in your tech stack?
So what is MACH? We're here talking about capital MACH, an acronym for microservices, API, cloud, and headless-based architecture. The reasons our clients are considering MACH as a tech stack is because they have at least an understanding that a MACH framework is going to enable a more flexible and adaptable solution to allow them to stay ahead of customer expectations, to stay ahead of the competition. And within that, speed to market is really key as well. So exploring MACH for your next-gen tech stack is a smart move when flexibility, adaptability, and speed to market is key, especially for our clients within retail and those that have significant commerce goals.
Yeah, Linda, that reminds me of a client that we were recently working with that fit that very definition. They were interested in MACH because they were on a very traditional CMS platform, and the client came to us and said, it literally takes like $1 million in a year to do anything of significance. They always have to rely on a project and developers to get a new site launched. And they had this initiative to basically commerce enable their site, and they knew they couldn't do it on that legacy infrastructure. So they came to EPAM and worked with us to identify a commerce platform that suited their needs from the MACH Alliance, and basically used that as their anchor to create a new MACH-based architecture that enabled them to go to market much more quickly, to adapt and to change according to their customer feedback. And that's a very typical MACH journey for someone.
That's great. Thanks, Brian, for the example. But the other thing also we hear about is that MACH architecture is composable. So how is that different from the platform strategies of the past? Brian?
Yeah, good question. So what do we mean by composable? So let's start with a little comparison. So the typical thing that a MACH architecture is compared against are your traditional suites. So the suites of software are like an all-in-one solution that have everything that you might possibly need to run a store or a site of some sort. They might have commerce, content, PIM and DAM and all these other things that they need. It's an all-in-one solution, which is why it's called a suite. But in Mock, when we say composable, what that really means is you're able to take the different services from these Mock platforms in the cloud and package them up into different business capabilities that now create or represent new products or services that you didn't have before. So that's what we mean by composable. And you can iterate on that to create different go-to-market solutions. And that's one of the things that makes Mock unique compared to those traditional platforms.
So you're almost saying it's like a best of breed?
I would say a Mock-based composable architecture is more like best for you and best for breed as opposed to the suites. Yeah, I would agree that that's the element of being able to choose is what makes that special for you.
And Linda, what do you see?
Absolutely agree. I think about the platform strategies of the past, and we would undertake these gigantic platform overhauls that often come with these very complex, intricate rollout strategies to ensure we're not breaking anything in the current environment and that we are ensuring stability while also introducing new services and new toolings. And that rollout roadmap often would be an 18 to 24 month timeline. So the benefit and value of a composable best for you or best of breed option here really allows us to be selective in what we tackle first and what potentially we don't want to tackle, which is a really nice benefit.
Yeah. 18 to 24 months can feel like a lifetime.
It has.
Especially the last couple of years, right?
So that's great. Thanks, guys, for the introductions about Mock and a little bit about the architecture. So let's dive in a little bit more. Let's talk about, for the Mock curious out there in the world, can they set their vision for the digital journey, and what can they expect along the way? So my first question then is around that topic is, what are the typical benefits of Mock for the IT, the business, the marketing departments? And how does a Mock framework help alleviate some of the pressures that the IT department would normally see? Brian?
Okay, that's a great question. I think the first benefit is one that's very often overlooked. Kind of going back to the suite example, a typical suite may try to be everything. It tries to cover all the features, but it may not go as deep as you need. What I find very valuable about the Mock platforms is that each one has a richer and deeper capability set than you would typically find in a suite. They are very much specializing in their particular function, and that's one of the things that makes them best in class. From a business perspective, one of the unique things about Mock is the headless nature of that architecture. So when I say headless, what I mean is that presentation layer or that user experience is now separated from all those backend systems. So a retailer or a marketer now has their business capabilities surfaced up into that layer, and they can use tool sets to essentially self-service changes to their content, promotions, and other things that maybe they need to run in that experience. And this decoupling also alleviates them from a lot of dependencies on the IT developer. So, a very famous example is the very traditional Black Friday season where, maybe a retailer needs to respond to a competitive campaign. You don't have time to go spin up a project and wait for developers to run a bunch of code. You want to be able to make those changes yourself. And that's what a Mock architecture enables. IT teams like it for the converse reason, right? They don't have to be nagged by the business and put under pressure to deliver something. But I think more important, they look at a lot of benefits from an infrastructure perspective. They don't have to stand up servers, run infrastructure, worry about scaling, because the Mock is in the cloud and handles all that for them. I think even customers have a benefit here as well, because the Mock enables the business to create a more connected and personal experience for them than maybe what they would have had otherwise.
Linda, what do you see?
On that note of the benefit to customers, if I think about kind of an often unspoken value or benefit is the value of time. marketers now can have more time dedicated to, let's say, digging into analytics to optimize their campaign strategies, optimize that experience for the end customer. IT leaders can now dedicate time to R&D, to innovation. So the concept that I can now choose how to dedicate my time and provide more value and impact to my organization, I think is a really amazing benefit that we often overlook, but one that I think our clients are really seeing valuable as a benefit as well.
Nice. Thank you for that. So then one quick question then is the next one. What are some of the key considerations? And obviously a very big one is the CFO, right? Can be particularly challenging to understand the benefits of MACH. Linda, what do you see some of the...
So before digging into platform and purchasing considerations, I would say there are internal considerations for organizations. Almost think about it as prerequisites. There needs to be alignment on a vision. There needs to be an enablement path to ensure that the organization from top down and bottom up is enabled and ready to embark on a MACH journey. And lastly, I would say advocacy for both the vision and the mindset shift and change that needs to happen in order to really empower and influence the organization and the teams that are going to be embarking on this journey to MACH together.
Brian?
I couldn't agree more, Linda. I think particularly when you're gathering your stakeholders, that CFO role is very important. The CFO tends to take a traditional view of projects, right? They want to know, what's the ROI? How much money am I going to save? What's the impact to the bottom line? And when you're looking at a MACH transformation, it's really more than just a project. This journey is something that really is more like a program, and you have to set a North Star to achieve that. And by getting that alignment, you help the CFO recognize that the benefits accumulate over time, and it's not just measuring the one deliverable from that first project. The other thing I think people tend to overlook, kind of going back to your comment about the change and the stakeholders, is getting the buy-in from the business teams that are actually using these tools. One of the favorite examples that I've seen in working with clients is around people who are switching from that traditional CMS platform to one that's a headless CMS. And what they don't realize is that this decoupling of the user experience also applies to the CMS, right? They're authoring content in a page format with, all the user experience wrapped around it. And then they switch to a headless CMS. They're like, well, where did my web page go? So they have to rewire their mind a little bit. But once they understand that the headless CMS is about the content as an object and how can I use it in different channels and target it to different personas, it becomes a much more valuable tool for them, and they get more use out of that. But they have to understand and accept that mind shift before they go through with the project.
So before they start the project, is there anything else they should be doing, like any assessments or anything like that?
Well, that's a great question. So it's very often possible that you can miss some of the stakeholders, right? We all think we know who all the teams are, but one of the things that we do at EPAM is we talk to clients, and we have a framework or a readiness assessment that we use to help them gauge what groups within their company are ready for MACH, which ones might need some more focus. And this is a great tool set that we make available to clients so they can kind of understand, what do they need to do to help that adoption.
Great. So once we've done that assessment, we now have that kind of North Star as you talked about. Let's actually get into the nuts and bolts, the purchasing journey of it. So how do I get started with MACH, right? It seems there's a lot to digest. Linda?
So I know, Brian, you have a favorite anecdote in how to take all of these considerations and really break it down into digestible pieces of information. A situation we're all familiar with, right? Sitting down at a restaurant, ordering dinner.
Yeah, absolutely. just think back to the last time you were out with your family, your friends, your significant other, and have you ever seen all the food show up at once? Your appetizer, your drinks, your entree, your dessert, etc., your salad. That's not how it works, right? You kind of ruin the meal. So when you approach mock, it's kind of the same analogy to going out to dinner. You want to think about what piece do you want to order first. You shouldn't be thinking about trying to order the whole proverbial elephant. And I think that's one of the keys to starting the mock journey is finding that one component that adds value and in relation to the vision of the journey that you're trying to create, and just starting with that, right? You don't have to figure out the whole course in advance. And my favorite course to start, of course, is dessert. So in mock, it's totally okay to start with dessert, just so you know.
I kind of like the sound of that. Dessert first.
Right.
So then next steps then is purchasing considerations, right? Any tips that you guys have? Also, how do you know if the mock partner is actually credible? Linda?
Yeah, that's a good point. So let's switch focus then to getting a little bit more prescriptive on platform considerations and purchasing decisions. Brian, I think you had mentioned earlier, we've done this, right? We've been on this journey with 65 clients, and in that time, we've been able to really distill down a few themes, tips, if you will, that seem to be common across all of our endeavors. And I think this is a really good time to move away from the anecdotes and really begin to get very prescriptive on some of those tips that we've learned in working with our clients over time.
Yeah, absolutely, Linda. So the first thing I think that's very important to understand is that mock is just it's not just a marketing term, right? It's a term that has very specific meaning. So if a vendor or a platform is coming to you and they're saying, "Hey, we're mock," there is an actual process they have to go through to be evaluated to be considered a member of the mock alliance. And if they don't pass those technical considerations and other considerations, they can't call themselves a mock member. So just making sure that, first of all, somebody has that credibility means that you're talking to the right kind of partners to begin your journey. I like to have a couple tips that I share with people as well. So you kind of heard me a moment ago describe the first tip. So I would say tip number one is pick something that is one aspect of your journey, right? Don't try to deliver all the journey in one phase. So pick something discrete and simple is the second tip, right? You don't have to pick the most complex problem to crack right off the gate. I think the third thing is pick something low risk. You want the first release to be a success. You want people to see, hey, there's some benefits here, and you want to get the enthusiasm of your stakeholders going with that first success. And I would say that there's two more tips that are super important. Pick something that is customer facing. Now that might sound a little scary, but I think it's very important for the customer to begin to see the benefits right away. And the reason for that is the last tip, because you want to create a feedback loop. That customer is going to be super important to letting you know how well this is working for them, because ultimately we're creating these experiences for that customer. And by creating the feedback loop, you can now begin to iterate and adjust and evolve, right? That's the beauty of the mock architecture and the mock approach, is that ability to take that feedback into account.
Thanks, Brian, for those tips and tricks, and thanks, Linda, as well. So we're coming to, our time is almost up. So we've gone through mock, we've gone through what it is and all the rest of it from there. So what's a key takeaway that you would take from this conversation that we're having today? Linda?
If I were to offer one key takeaway today, it is don't go at it alone. Make sure that you are choosing a digital solution provider like EPAM Systems, who is credible, who has been validated as part of the mock Alliance. That's really important. And also ensuring that you are asking validation questions to select that partner, right? So don't be afraid to ask about their previous experience. How many implementations have they done? What are some key client stories, success stories that they can share with you? What partnerships do they have as part of the MACH Alliance? That's another critical one as well. And I would say, just making sure that, your organization internally is prepared to go on this MACH journey. So I know I said a lot there, but really that one takeaway is you don't have to do this alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree, Linda. I think that finding a partner that you can trust, that fits your culture and your values and can understand you and what will help make you successful is a very key to starting that MACH journey for the MACH curious. I think, my takeaway would be, it's okay to make a mistake, right? So, some people think, all right, I want to try something out. It's never too late to pull in that trusted partner to help you and to course correct and to make changes. This isn't the suites of old where if you make a mistake, it's like tens of millions of dollars and, multiple years until you can undo that mistake. But one of the beauties of the MACH architecture is it's very easy to change your course, adapt your architecture, and work with a partner that can help you make those changes that suit your business the best. So that's what I would recommend.
Great. Thanks, guys, for those tips. So thank you all for giving us your time today to listen into the podcast. Thank you, Brian and Linda, for attending and sharing your knowledge. And we're all set from there.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.